I haven't been seeing many of Gary's videos, and I know for the last couple of months I've started a video tour about Gary with that because I want him and everybody to know I haven't seen a plethora of videos out there. I've been really busy and I'm banned from him, so especially when I get really busy, I watch the low hanging fruits. I'm very much reply oriented. After that, I'm subscription oriented. I check for replies first. And even if I find a reply that's old, it's sort of, well, if I hadn't seen it before, it's new to me and it's part of the exchange, so it's a new event and I know to answer it. I actually have given in and I do go to Do Not God or have, looking before, but, I don't know what's exactly current or if it replies to something I said. There's a lot of subjects, and except for the rare I never happened before mode where I'm like, I have enough time to just, I'll watch every video by somebody. There's usually some selection by the title and stuff. But I did see one that he replied to me. And, he mentions that in Stickum that I've conceded everything. Not true, but I mean, but how on YouTube, he's so frustrated dealing with me. And why don't I make a video? Well, I have made a video. I've said the same exact things. But Stickum's interesting because it's more face-to-face than YouTube, but it's still a group of people all at once. The next step, is literally just two people talking. So that just sets the background and describes something about myself, whether it's positive or negative. You can be the judge. But, yeah, I had an experience at work recently, and to describe its significance, let me just describe the basic situation. I mean, regardless of what most of you assume, it's not necessary that somebody defends ideas because they're their own ideas. It's possible to put your own ideas on the table and then look at the facts and actually disfavor your own ideas. What happens over time is there comes to me a realization of certain factual realities. And in software, people will not see that. And they'll want to go in this direction, habit or whatever the explanation. Usually there's good reasons for it. But it's incomplete. It doesn't look at the whole situation. And I usually try to make my point, but if there's resistance, often it's just like, okay, we'll go ahead and do it the way you want, but, it can't impact me in the following ways. And I wait until the impacts I predicted on us and the system start to happen, and then I have more understanding from them because they've encountered these, speed bumps and brick walls. And I could say, well, this is what I'm talking about. We have to do it this other way that I was talking about. So, that's sometimes a problem. People don't want to be told I told you so, and I'm trying not to do that. But, on the other hand, it's like, well, you also could learn to, trust me in some of these things. Or not. I mean, we could do it this process where we go towards a cliff and I say, watch out, there's a cliff over there. And when we get to the edge of the cliff, I get really, really, it's my job to be the brick wall so we don't go over the cliff, and my job to have a parachute and a rocket pack to get back up on the plateau. And so we'll, have some meeting where I'll have some issue that I'm really pushing hard for, and this makes people nervous. It's people have cried before and gotten flabbergasted and stunned silence and awkward moments. And one time there was a manager who since basically let go, and he wasn't getting along with anybody, even at a time before people did decide to stand up to this. And I just made a really important point about a project that was in crisis. And he just looked at me and then turned away and started talking about something else. And I'm like, no, wait, that's not good enough. And I just stopped him and I forced him. I said, look, you have to face this situation. There is no other option. We're not going to fail at this. And this kind of thing, is shocking to people. And often they don't remember too easily. You have to show them. It's like, remember, yeah, you felt awkward, but I was right. And that's why we didn't fail, because I took the hit upon myself. And I don't really go into these situations without factual evidence. And unlike like on YouTube, where people just could go around, in lots of industries, people go around forever. In programming, if you have the facts and can demonstrate them, they will tend to have to rule the day. So, to me, I prefer just to go in that meeting, and it might be why people say that, I'm contentious, because, I don't mind going into a meeting with no allies among the people, but having the facts allied on my side. That feels great, to go into a group like that. No, they're all going to see it in the end because I could prove it. So, but this is hard because when you're doing with a lot of people, you can't worry about the individual emotional thing. And that's fine with me, because to me, it's the propagandist that wants to take people one at a time so he can tell them everything different. If I take people one at a time, I tell them all the same thing, and it feels like, okay, here it goes again. But I can manage their emotional reactions better, and even if it is contentious, they can understand a less hurtful emotional experience. So we had another situation like this has been going on for a while. People have been put a lot of work into this, and they've run into the roadblocks. We had some work I was doing that came back and go, well, what about this? And I'm like, well, that's what I was saying. That's the problem you're going to have if you do that way. We can refactor it into this other system or what have you. And, the first developer that came to me worrying about this, and I'm like, well, and here's the argument. I don't even think, you like the way that works, because it's not the way it works. It's the way this other subsystem you have insisted it worked that way. And I demonstrated her, and she was like, okay. And she had a suggestion that I go and talk to the people involved one at a time. One-on-one, right? And so I did this. I talked to various people. One person that I talked to was like, oh no, let's just talk about it in the meeting. I think they were a little bit worried. But I called them within 15 minutes, because we had another situation we'd been through a while ago, another similar issue, but she happened to have been on my, the same side as me in that case. And so she saw how this was similar. So within 15 minutes, something that was supposed to be a huge problem was dissolved, and I realized, okay, so this is actually worthwhile. I always thought it was better just to go in and use an hour and a half, boom, get it done with. But if the emotions are wrapped up better, then just in a practical sense, it's, it saves time to go ahead and, when I have something like this where the whole team is arrayed against me, instead of going in and convincing them all at once, I'll convince them one at a time. And we'll have the meeting after they're already convinced. So that's what's going on with Stickum. What Gary thinks I'm conceding is that life isn't all of that. What my point is that it's a pro-choice issue, right? That you could prove to someone all the, like 99.9% of life isn't worth living, then they go, you know what, you're right, and I'm not going to procreate, or maybe I'm even going to commit suicide, or whatever. You could do that, but what you can't do is prove that last little point of a percent, that it's not their decision to make finally. That's not rightfully. That the correct decision in the very last 0.01%, what makes it correct, is that person's decision, that it fits them, that they want to believe that, go that way, act on that. So it's easier for me to explain that person to person, right? On the other hand, when I was last in there's elements of this group kung fu thing, one versus many, because it's just so funny when you do have a group where you go in there and everybody disagrees with you, and you're not gonna give up unless somebody proves that your facts have an error in them, your logic and your facts, your evidence and reasoning. Often there's someone in there of mediocre intelligence. And in Stickum, this was Paul's ego, who thinks that since everybody's arrayed against you, that the facts won't matter. And though they don't necessarily fully understand where you stand, what the issues really are, they feel sure that it's a safe bet to go with the sentiment. They can sense. We've all walked in the meeting. Everybody's going, oh, what's Piero going to try to convince us of this time? And we disagree. We know how we feel. And he senses that. And these are generally somebody not that sure how they feel. But sometimes they also have feelings, definite feelings. But they're usually more butterflies, figuring out where to land. And it's funny because, I mean, I want to be nice to, you know, like I work with intelligent people. I want to be nice to their emotions and their intellect. But when somebody like that is there, it's just like, but I want to watch the look on your face as I convince everybody in the room of what I'm talking about, and you're going to be the last one. Because 2 reasons. 1, you're not making your decisions based on facts. And so I will go around and make everybody face the facts, and you'll be the last one to do it. Also because of 2, I'm going to save you for last. So you can be the last one wrong. So, we're going to try not to have any crying. Sorry about that. Not really my fault. I try to talk one-on-one. Okay? If you all come at me at once, then you get facts that may offend your little sensibilities. Oh dear. Let's deal with it.